Every game begins the same way.
Before we dive into the news that's shaking up Birdland, I need a favor from you, the fans. I ask, clearly and directly, that you subscribe to the channel right now. By doing so, you'll start receiving the fastest and most in-depth analyses on the Orioles, with a unique and truthful perspective from someone who intensely lives the team's day-to-day life, someone who yells, "Oh!" during the national anthem, with the passion our history demands. This is Orioles Fan Central, and our mission is to bring you the truth about the O's, regardless of how tough it is to hear, combining inside information with professional objectivity. Subscribe, and today's news is the kind that hurts the heart and ignites a red alert within the front office. The disappointing collapse of the Baltimore Orioles this season, following last year's promising flash, is creating a climate of uncertainty, and worse, discontent within the roster. The lack of clear direction, which pushed us out of the race we should be in, puts the permanence of crucial talents at risk. The big question of the moment, being discussed behind the scenes at Camden Yards and in the front office, is the future of our star pitcher, the lefty Trevor Rogers. And the outlook, my Birdland friends, is not encouraging. Analyst Christopher Klein from Fansided raised a hypothesis that, unfortunately, gains traction with the franchise's instability. The O's might be inclined to trade Rogers. This isn't empty speculation. Trevor Rogers is undeniably one of the few shining highlights of this season. He has shown Cy Young-level dominance when healthy and on the mound. The numbers speak for themselves, and they are not an insignificant sample. An ERA of 1.35 and a WHIP of 0.87 across 17 starts, totaling 106.2 innings pitched. For those who don't recall, he was an All-Star in 2021 when he was with the Marlins, and he is only 27 years old. This means that Rogers' ceiling is incredibly high, and he is entering what we call his walk year, pre-free agency, which historically makes him an extremely valuable asset in the trade market. We can expect a massive wave of trade interest in him this offseason, and that's where GM Mike Elias steps into the game with his strategic, cold, and often painful decisions. Rogers, with his potential for dominance and his strikeout control, is an undisputed ace for the O's, especially after we let go of an arm like Corbin Burns. Losing Rogers would undoubtedly put our pitching rotation in trouble. The team already suffers from a scarcity of established talent on the mound. Keeping Rogers should be the #1 priority for the front office. Klein, from Fansided, agrees, saying the ideal would be for the O's to hold firm. However, he also voices the concern that many of us share, the fear that Mike Elias might misread the long-term game and decide to sell high, that is, trade him for the biggest possible package of prospects, believing it's the right time to maximize his trade value before a potential high salary demand for an extension or his departure in free agency. If this happens, Baltimore might live in regret for many years, watching a pitcher of Rogers' caliber dominate the American League wearing another uniform. History has shown us that, with this front office, never say never to a risky trade. Birdland needs guarantees, not more uncertainties. The pressure on Elias is immense. Continuing our analysis, the situation with Trevor Rogers and the possibility of a trade isn't just about one player. It reflects the strategic dilemma the Baltimore Orioles front office is currently facing. After such a disappointing collapse, the big question is, will the franchise try to quickly recover or return to the painful path of rebuilding? If the answer is the latter, or if Elias foresees that the cost to re-sign Rogers will be too high, the pitcher's trade is almost inevitable. But look closely, Birdland. The value Rogers offers our rotation goes beyond the spectacular numbers. He is an anchor of confidence and an example of dominance in a roster that desperately needs stability on the mound. The idea that the team let go of Corbin Burns and might now get rid of Rogers is a scenario that borders on desperation and poor asset management. A team that aspires to the playoffs and, more importantly, to compete in the AL East, the toughest division in baseball, simply cannot afford to part with two ace-level pitchers in such a short period. Rogers, at 27, With his all-star history and the Cy Young level stuff he displayed in his 106.2 innings pitched this season, with that 1.35 ERA and 0.87 WHIP, is the kind of fundamental talent you build a championship team around, not the kind of piece you use to sell high in a panic market. Elias's decision will be the litmus test of his management philosophy. Will he prioritize the long-term advantage with a package of prospects, or the immediate need for a pitcher who can lead the rotation for years to come? The fear of regret is real and historical in baseball. Trading a young, dominant, and proven talent like Rogers only to receive a handful of prospects who may or may not develop is a high-risk gamble that could cost the O's years of competitiveness. If the team is dissatisfied with the slump and wants to return to rebuilding, as the source suggests, trading Rogers would make sense from a purely strategic standpoint of tanking and asset acquisition. However, the sentiment in Birdland is that the rebuilding phase should be over. We have promising young talent in the lineup, and what's missing is the consolidation of the rotation. Trevor Rogers is that consolidation. If Elias trades him, he will be sending a clear signal to the fans and, worse, to the rest of the roster. The Baltimore Orioles are not ready to compete. This could lead to an even greater deterioration of morale and other key players considering an exit. It's time to pressure the front office. Birdland loves our team. We cheer with the O shout in the anthem. But we demand a competitive and serious team. Keeping Trevor Rogers is not just a roster decision. It's a commitment to the franchise's immediate future and an acknowledgement of the talent we have. It's the message that we are not backing down, but rather doubling down on winning. Rogers shouldn't be on the block for trades. He should be receiving a contract extension that keeps him in Baltimore for a long time. The hope is that Mike Elias chooses the stability and ace potential of Rogers over the temptation of a sell high. Losing a pitcher of this caliber would put our rotation in serious trouble for the future. We cannot make the same mistake twice. Summary of the main news. The Baltimore Orioles' disappointing performance this season raises the possibility that star pitcher Trevor Rogers could be traded as he enters his final year before free agency. Rogers, an all-star with a 1.35 ERA and 0.87 WHIP this season, is a valuable asset that the front office might want to sell high, despite the consensus that the team should keep him to stabilize the rotation. Birdland, what do you think of the team's latest decisions? Is the potential trade of Trevor Rogers a smart strategic move for the franchise's future, or a serious mistake that signals a return to rebuilding? What would be the best off-season strategy? Keep elite pitching talent at all costs or maximize trade value for prospects? Your opinion is crucial. Like this video, comment below what you would do if you were Mike Elias. And, most importantly, subscribe to Orioles Fan Central to continue following exclusive analyses and daily updates on the Birds. I'm counting on you.